Hello, Wildcats and Wildcat families. Thank you for joining me tonight for this virtual back to school. My name is Sean Duff, and I'm the AP Human Geography teacher at Monrovia High School. Tonight, I'm going to go over a couple things with you. First and foremost, why take AP Human Geography? Now, there's a couple reasons why students do. Reason number one is because it does give them a boost in their GPA. Whereas in a regular class, an A counts as 4 points, a B counts as 3 points. In geography, rather AP Human Geography, your A is going to count for 5 points. Your B will count for 4 points, so on and so forth. So this is how students are able to get above a 4.0 if they do have straight A's. Another reason why this is a popular class is because assume you pass the AP exam in May, you can receive college credit as a high school student. The AP exam in May is scored on a scale of 1 to 5, and depending on the school that you go to in terms of college, a score of 3, 4, or 5 can work. Now there's some fine print involved with that, but a passing score is considered a 3, 4, or 5, and like I said, colleges will basically let you take one less class and make you pay for one less class by passing this AP exam in May. Okay, so that's another big boost for this class in terms of students wanting to take it in one of the perks. Another big one is with college applications. This class is rigorous. This class is going to stand out on a transcript. If you're taking an AP level class as a freshman, that's noteworthy. Okay, so again, boost in your GPA, possible college credit by passing the AP exam, as well as college applications. Those do get very competitive, and AP classes make them look good. Like I mentioned earlier, this class is rigorous. It's tough. There's going to be homework. You have to read, you have to study, you have to review. There's basically homework every night, not because there's a paper due the very next day, but because there's always something to read. There's always vocab that you can study. There's always something to do. Okay, there's always homework for this class. One of the biggest things that helps students be successful is time management. Making sure you set aside time to get the work done. This is not the kind of class where you can just be smart, show up, and get an A. You got to study. This is a real deal academic class. It's an AP level class. It's a class, like I said, that you can get college credit for if you pass the AP exam. So it's conducted as such. This is a tough class. With that said, students are successful every single year. Okay, but like I said, time management is going to be key. Getting homework done, reading, being prepared is what's going to allow you to be successful. Some students struggle, at least initially, but most of those students also make some adjustments and finish strong. This is the textbook that we use, the cultural landscape. Those are going to be the chapters that we study. So rather than physical geography, this is very much human geography, and we're going to look at things like migration, folk and pop culture, population, religions, ethnicity, political geography, all the human stuff on this planet, which in my opinion makes this class very fascinating, and which also I think students like. As far as distance learning, there's a couple expectations I wanted to make sure we go over. The first one is please get them in the habit of starting their login process a couple minutes early so that if there is some type of a glitch, they can still be in class on time. Always use Google Chrome as the browser. A number of the programs and platforms used in Monrovia schools work best with Google Chrome as the browser. And then of course, always use your school email account for any and all school related work. Please do not use personal email accounts for school work. Because I only see the students 2 hours per week as opposed to 5, it is very important that we maximize our time. Please encourage them to stay off anything that's going to be a distraction. Cell phones, video games, social media, Netflix. Those are all very popular. Those are all very entertaining, but those can also all wait until after class. The time that we have is precious, and I want to make sure that we're maximizing it. The last one on this slide is a big one, the video camera feature on Zoom. The expectation and the hope is that students have this on. It helps me with engagement, it helps me with communication, it helps me and allows me to check for understanding very easily and quickly. I can see their expressions. What I don't want to have is at the end of the semester, let's say maybe their grade isn't what we had hoped it be, and you and I are having a meeting. I don't want to have to say, well, you know, unfortunately, I haven't even seen their face all semester, so it's hard for me to know if they're really into it. I don't want to have that conversation. I want to make sure that you, me, and them are all on the same page at the same time in terms of expectations and how our Zoom sessions go. With that said, if their camera is off, they're not in trouble. But what I would like, please, if you can email me and let me know that you're okay with their camera being off. Again, it's not to get them in trouble or anything. It's just to make sure that you, me, and them are all on the same page at the same time in terms of what our collective expectations are. So if you want their camera on, don't email me. If you are okay with it having it off, please email me and let me know that you're okay with having it off. But the video camera feature on is a big help in terms of operating and functioning in a class. As in a regular classroom, displaying maturity, respect for others, whether we're face-to-face or Zoom-to-Zoom, we're gonna make sure that everyone is respectful at all times on any online activity or Zoom call. Because we are so relying on technology, I do expect there to be some bumps along the way. Hopefully not on my end, hopefully not on your end, but those types of things happen. One of the things that I want to make sure that students know is that if there's some technology issues, please communicate them with me. I would love to help be part of the solution, help whatever way I can. So if it's for some reason there's access issues, there's Wi-Fi issues, there's any type of tech issues, please let me know. I want to make sure that we have open lines of communication so that I can help and so that I don't think that, you know, students just disappear. So communication is and will be key to our success. I do have office hours for students, Tuesday through Friday. The times vary. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I also have what's called intervention meetings. The office hours, like I said, these are for students. If you are a parent that wants to have a meeting, please email me and we will go ahead and arrange that and take care of that. But the office hours are for students. Students will click on the Zoom link for office hours and they will go into a waiting room, and then I will see students as they appear in the waiting room. So it could be quick, they might have to wait a couple minutes. It just depends on how busy the office hours that day are. In terms of the other type of meeting, it's called an intervention meeting. This is going to be a separate link on our Google Classroom. The office hours link is also on our Google Classroom. However, the intervention meeting is when I personally invite a student to a meeting. This is going to be where we get to talk about maybe their progress, where I can maybe help them kind of get things back on track if I think that they're struggling. But this is a meeting where I'm going to reach out to them. Some very common assignments that you're going to see. We always do assignments called learning objectives. These are going to be questions and a summary paragraph for each of the key issues or sections that we cover. We always do vocab flashcard slides to make sure that we are knowing and remembering the vocab words, which is a very, this class is very heavy on vocab. We do quizzes, we take chapter tests, we do projects, and we do a lot of things with maps. So those are some of the types of assignments that we're going to be doing. Chapter tests, we're going to have a chapter test for every chapter we covered. The textbook has 30 of them. There's going to be two parts to these tests. The multiple choice part, somewhere between usually 40 to 50 at the most questions. And there's going to always be a written part of this called an FRQ, a free response question. Typically, FRQ responses are maybe a paragraph or two. It's not a formal essay, but it is a written answer. We're going to do map tests. I haven't started any of these with the students yet, but we're going to use a website called iliketolearn.com that has awesome practice tools so that students really start to memorize and know different features on the map. And then we're going to have section quizzes. This is, like I said, a very vocab heavy class. So we are going to have a lot of vocabulary quizzes along the way. As far as grades, the grading scale is very straightforward. Traditional 90 to 100% is the A range, 80 to 89% the B range. As far as categories, there are weighted categories. Tests are worth 40% of the grade, quizzes 10%. Assignments are worth 40%. Now assignments are both classwork and homework. The two are kind of one at this point. And projects are going to be also worth 10%. Some of the resources that you're going to make sure you are familiar with. Number one, Google Classroom. That's going to be our go-to for most, almost all of our assignments are going to be through Google Classroom, whether it be the assignment directly on Google Classroom or a link provided on Google Classroom. Aries is going to be a way for you and students to monitor grades and progress. A website I mentioned a second ago to help us study for maps, iliketolearn.com. And then there's also a couple of test prep or test review materials that I encourage you to maybe look at. The first one is something that you actually have to buy. It's on Amazon for maybe $15. It's called 5 Steps to a 5. They come out with a new one every year, and essentially it's a summary and test prep so that they can get ready for the AP exam. Now, you don't have to buy this, but I would definitely, if possible, I would say go ahead and grab it because it's a pretty good resource, especially towards the end of the year and it's time to review. Another website that is pretty good that has AP Human Geography stuff is called Shmoop. That is something that you might want to check out. Also, a site called Quizlet. There's lots of flashcards and other types of study resources on Quizlet. Now, there's all sorts of other apps and programs out there, especially now with distance learning. I'm going to try to keep it to a few. Any apps and programs that you find helpful, by all means, use them and share them with me. If you think it's a good thing that other students might want to do too, please let me know. There's a lot of different stuff out there, but those are some of the ones that we're going to be using, especially at the start of our year. The Wildcat Way, these are going to be the characteristics that we want all of our Monrovia High School students to exhibit, to have. And I'm just going to kind of focus on that top one right away, making learning the priority. As I mentioned earlier, this class is tough. It's going to require time management. It's going to require students actually having to read the textbook, to do their assignments, to study kind of above and beyond probably what they've ever studied before. This class is difficult. It has to be. It's preparing you to take the AP exam at the end of the year, which again will, if you pass it, give you college credit. So please help me help them stay focused, establish some time management skills, setting aside time to get work done. It's important. Okay, there's a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of students. In order, in terms of getting work done, probably more so than any other year with this distance learning. And I want to let you know that I'm going to work with you and I want to work with that. But at the same time, we've got a class that we've got to cover, material that we have to look at, and an AP exam at the end of the year that we have to prepare for. So once this class does get moving, it's definitely going to be moving. So please communicate if there's issues with technology, if there's other types of things going on that you might think I should know, please let me know. I want to work with you. Now, before we go, I know this says thank you, and that's all, folks, but I want to show you our Google Classroom real quick because there's a couple resources I want to make sure that you know are available to your students. So this is what our Google Classroom looks like. This is first period, but sixth period would look the exact same. The stream is going to be kind of just anything and everything that I post, but I want to focus our attention on this classwork slide, or tab rather. The classwork is always going to be organized and hopefully easy for people to find. So anything chapter 1 is going to be under this chapter 1 title. Okay, earlier I made reference to the intervention meeting. Here's the link for intervention meeting. Here's the link for our office hours. Here's the link and gives you access to the various pieces of class information from our syllabus, to the class link, distance learning information, etc., etc. I wanted to show you though what some of our assignments look like when you actually open it up. So this is going to be our first learning objective assignment, chapter 1.1. And you'll notice, whoa, where'd it go? And you'll notice that there's 3 things that are attached here. One of the 3 things is the online textbook. Students are obviously free to use their hardcover textbook, but if they don't have access to it or prefer reading online, this tab right here is going to open the chapter 1 online textbook. Now it is not a fancy website, it is a simple PDF, which might even be better because it's pretty straightforward and easy to use. It's literally just the textbook online. This next one though is actually a link that I encourage students to look at for every section that we cover. It's an online video lecture. They range from typically around 10 minutes. Some of them are a little bit more, some of them are a little bit less. But this is going to be a video lecture that goes directly hand in hand with each chapter and each section of the textbook. I highly recommend watching these videos either before or after you read, or possibly both. And then of course as an awesome study tool as we build towards chapter tests. But every one of these assignments is going to have the online textbook. It's going to have the online video lecture to kind of help them if they're having trouble understanding the material. And then of course the assignment itself. It's going to be on a Google Doc and they simply type right on that document. But all of our assignments are going to be organized like this. This is section 2, it has the same materials. And then this last one I wanted to show you was resources. This is going to be the one-stop shop, if you will, online textbook. On the top left, on the bottom right is the lecture notes, or are the lecture notes on a Google slideshow. And then each of the 4 sections, video lectures, are all right here for the students to watch and enjoy over and over again if they so choose. But I definitely need them to watch each of these at least once. And that's our Google Classroom. So to wrap things up, thank you for joining me tonight. My email is at the bottom, sstuff@monroviaschools.net. My phone number is there also, but to be honest, email is probably the quickest and easiest way to get a hold of me, especially now. I look forward to working with your student, teaching them stuff, getting them ready for that big test at the end. I want to work with you. Please make sure we have open lines of communication, especially if something is up with technology or other class-related circumstances. But I look forward to having a good year. This is probably my favorite class to teach. And it is definitely a very interesting class. Thanks for joining me. I hope to talk to you soon. Have a good night.